Good morning and welcome to FYI. It's Tuesday, the
Yep.
first day of March
Yep.
in
Yep.
the
Yep.
year 2022. I'm Amanda Walton this year, and I'm happy
Nice
to
to
be
meet you.
back and to be joined by my brother Sharon and my sister Joretha. Welcome
Welcome,
to
guys.
FYI.
Welcome. How
Good
y'all
morning,
doing?
everyone.
1st of March. 1st of March.
It's the 1st of March already.
Good to have you back, man.
It's good to be back. I've been MIA
Oh.
for a few days.
For a little while.
For a few
For a few days. I like the song a lot,
yes,
that song.
and
I like song.
but it's good to be back. How are
Yeah.
you doing there?
How are you guys doing?
How has your morning been?
Let me get this, the monitor.
It's raining this morning where we are. So let us know how the weather is in your neck of the woods. We have a packed program this morning. We're going to be
Yes, we
discussing
do.
a number of
We
issues.
do.
You know, you'll see our pins here. You know that March is the month that we choose to celebrate women and their accomplishments all around the world. It's going to be International Women's Day soon, and so we have a number of activities leading up to that, Joretta.
Correct.
And so it's really good to be back and to be here with you guys.
Good to have you here.
Mhm.
And good to have all of you guys. Good to have all of you guys. We see what
Well, we
Linda
have a
Thomas
little-
and yeah.
No, I was just about to say that we're going to be having a little 8-day marathon leading up to International
Oh, yes.
Women's
Yeah,
Day
yeah,
on
yeah.
the 8th of March. So every day we're going to be doing something. We're going to be covering actually a person of interest, a woman of interest that has contributed a whole lot. So
Yeah.
we're
Yeah, I
gonna be
look
starting
forward.
that
I
today.
look forward to that.
Yeah.
So, how are you doing? We see Hazel Johnson. Hazel Johnson says
Hazel!
I see Erwil Don Cook, another one of our faithful viewers.
Always
says,
here, always.
It's cloudy
Just
on the
there.
west side. Well, it's raining on this side,
Yes.
Don. Siobhan McDonald, Emily Scott, Andrew Cosbert. We see Veronica Primo Rawlings.
Always there. Just
all
there.
the way out there in the U.S.
Wish I was
Good
there.
morning.
But we can come on the road. We can come on the road soon. We can bring the show on the road by Rollins.
Where are you guys joining us from this morning? You know, we like to
Let
ask.
us know.
We like to be in your business as to where you are.
Just like how you all in business. We want to be your business too. Good to see each and every one of you. A good sandwich now would stop right.
What are you having for breakfast?
What are you guys having for breakfast?
We're having our usual.
Yeah, I had some bacon eggs earlier, and now the tea following.
Bacon eggs.
Yeah.
Wow.
We want you all see we nasty eating, so we can just drink.
Like me.
Yeah. Put the asterisk next to that. Wife make me. Let us asterisk that. Guys, how are you doing? How was the night? You all had any dreams? You all see any lottery numbers?
Sonny and Lynn, and according to Colin Duncan.
Good.
That's the family,
Yeah.
Sharon.
Good.
Yeah, it's could be all
Colin
numbers related.
No, but
All numbers.
Linden,
Yeah.
that person's running from Linden. I know you love
Probably.
Linden.
But it's my born tongue, I tell you.
2 against 1, guys. 2
Them
against
claim
1.
we. Well, the other morning was you and somebody else from Bartica,
Bartica.
and y'all were ganging up. So
I'm sorry, yes.
take it so. Just take it
Lover
so.
Joseph says happy to be joining from Ukraine.
Lover, where?
Lover, are you serious?
From the
I don't
Ukraine, we
know
want to talk to you.
Lover.
Lover, if you're in Ukraine, we want to talk to you.
You should rock
You
and
want
come in,
what's
Lover.
happening. Rock and come in. I like that.
Let's get a
Rock and come in, roll and come in, flip and come in, however you want to come in. Just come in. Just come in.
Let's get an update.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Sunny in
Stanislaus
England.
Washington says it's sunny in England.
Yeah.
Good.
Wow,
William
nice.
Portia says good morning from Toronto.
It's probably
You
cold in
see-
Toronto. It's probably cold in Toronto.
Yeah. I learned an interesting factoid while looking at something that Edmonton, Alberta, Canada is the coldest place on earth for 4 years now in a row. So
Like the
Wow.
I don't know. I thought it was
What
so
happened to y'all
interesting. I
there,
thought it
boy?
would have been the North Pole or something, but they're even colder than the North Pole.
Wow,
So
interesting.
interesting little factoid.
Interesting factoid.
Barbados is in the house.
Man,
with
it's not a
Mela
fact.
Sanchari.
It's a factoid. It's not just a fact. It's elevated. It's a factoid. I beg your pardon.
Beverly Drake says good morning
boy.
from Virginia. Good morning, Beverly. For those
Yes,
of you who
good
don't
morning.
know, Beverly was one of our first female pilots.
Really?
Oh, nice.
Began in
Respect and
Vancouver
manners.
and
Respect
has
and manners,
a
Beverly.
Very, very long-standing career. Proud Guyanese.
Well, we're celebrating you this month as well, Beverly.
Yes, we will do a feature on Beverly Drake.
Respect and manners. Respect and manners.
Yes.
Good to see all of the folks join us. Gavin Liverpool and Dan Mitchell, Jennifer Argyle, and is it Tian
Wallerson. Good morning, Tien. Well, we said hello to Andrew.
Yeah.
Andrew, where are you joining us from? Let us know.
Let me know.
We have Julian Mars joining us from the US this morning.
Oh, wow.
Great, great.
Nice. Which part of the US?
Diane Fordyce from Plum Park, Sophia. Hi, Diane. How are you?
Respect and manners, Sophia.
Yes.
Shout out to all this.
Oh, Beverly says I would love to join you guys one day. Very,
nice.
very
Nice.
good. Very good. Herbal Don Cook, Wills Felix. I can't.
Skimon.
I can never get that name pronounced.
Skimon,
Good morning to Rishi Rambali. Rishi, why are you so mean first thing
I
in the
usually
morning?
tell people to send us a voice note of the pronunciation of the name so we get it
So
right.
we get
Rishi
it right.
mean? What is Rishi saying?
Rishi mean. Rishi is making all kinds of mean comments about Cherry. Rishi, you sound like you need a virtual hug.
Father.
We're sending love to you this morning, Rishi.
Take a hug, Rishi.
Take a hug. You need a hug.
Take some cyber hug. The spirit,
You really have to be in a bad place to wake up so mean early in the morning.
Feel all this positiveness and you come and talk in black clothes and women.
He's a vibe killer. Don't kill me, vibe. We're saying good morning.
I thought you were going to say Rishi's a viper. Same thing. Generation of vipers, the Bible call them.
Good morning to Anne. Good morning to Derek Smith. Good morning to each and every one of you.
Felix is joining us from FYI.
British Virgin Islands, a beautiful place.
Oh, Jennifer is in Grenada.
Invite us, the man. Jennifer,
Jennifer's in Grenada.
Spice Island. Invite me to Jennifer.
Oh, Lord. Grenada is lovely. Mm-hmm. It's lovely.
I've seen the photograph.
One of my favorite. One of my, yes.
She gets you wrong. She gets you wrong.
Very lovely.
I have your picture. Grenada. Shout out to all the Grenadians. She had you.
Yes. Good morning,
Melissa. What music do you guys listen to in the morning? Since Amanda came in, she want music.
Yes. No, it sets.
So she come in, she want music. What music y'all listen to?
For the rest of the day, it helps to uplift your spirit, particularly after you've had your morning.
So you saying the Bible needs some music?
I think he needs to pray.
Like a good
he needs to
meditate. A good
meditate.
gospel, something like that.
Yes, and really connect with whatever he perceives the divine to be. Because you gotta be in a bad state.
So you wake up, you wake up, you don't get no tea. You bust the cupboard, you don't see no milk. You don't see no bacon and eggs. It's an empty plate.
We have Sherry Grenache from Barbados.
Granite.
I would love to have you guys in Barbados.
Oh, we'd love to be there too. We taking a show on the road, Hold on.
We haven't
just time.
It's just time. Just time. Good to have all of you nonetheless. And let us know what you guys listen to in the morning. Besides the music, what music? That's like music to some people, right? What music you listen to get in touch with, as Amanda says, whoever you perceive to be the divine. How do you start the day going music-wise? What do you guys listen to? I'm interested to know. I fast. I tell you, play straight.
I fast. Can start.
What do you listen to?
I listen to some gospel in the morning.
Yeah,
sometimes. This morning I was on some calypso.
I generally look. It just depends on
the mood.
What I wake up feeling like. I always wake up with some song on my mind, and it ranges from gospel. It might be reggae. I'm a reggae fanatic. Love reggae music.
Georgia.
It just depends. It may be jazz.
To catch you off balance.
But I think it's very, very important when you wake up in the morning to just take time to connect with yourself, to connect with the divine, to connect with even nature. I like to go out early in the morning and just breathe in the fresh air. And it really grounds you, and it really sets you on a course for a good day.
Love it.
You have to, otherwise you come out here, people like, was it
set your day up for some early success.
It sets your day up for some early success, and you be intentional about your day.
Yeah.
You declare what you want your day to be like.
Yeah, and that is why since the year started, we were saying to you guys, pace and power in 2022, because again, you wanna get some targets in place and go after those things. Look, it's March already. 2 months have gone by, and we can look back and think, how much have we accomplished?
How much have you accomplished? Right. Jules, what do you do?
Somebody.
I'm listening to these two next to me this morning, talking about what music they like and all. And all I can think about is that since I had that privilege of having things to like in the morning. But then we started this show, FYI, that I have to be out of the house like 6 a.m. every single morning. So cancel all that I
So you
like
say
doing.
we is a problem now.
Cancel all that I like doing in the morning
We is
because
the problem.
now I have to be up since like 4:30, 5 a.m.
I
Make
can
sure
see
I
where
get
this is going.
things in order and all
You
of
see
that.
this
I see
So
where
you
this is
see,
going.
I haven't had the pleasure and the luxury of actually doing anything
With the
for a
hindrance.
little for
We is a hindrance
a little
now.
while. But generally,
Mhm.
anybody that knows me knows that I'm a really positive person. Like I go out there and I'd like to have positive energy. I hate like waiting people around
Two
and
of
things
us.
like that.
Two of
If
us.
I say like I'm
Three
always
of
the
us.
person to say good morning, with a bright smile on
Mhm.
my face, and some people like very, very.
Yeah.
Some people are very weighty in the morning. I don't like those type of
Yeah.
people around
You know, it's
me
important,
generally.
as a man who said, that foundation you're going to set.
Yeah.
Lots of family don't say good morning when they wake up. People just start about, good morning to
Yeah.
whoever you're going to be engaging in your house. Good morning.
Good
It's important,
morning.
good morning.
And
People
it sets
get
the
gruff.
tone for the day. And I truly believe that as is within, so is without. And so whatever level you vibrate on is what you attract.
Mhm.
So for me,
Yes.
I don't do lack, I don't do struggle,
Mhm.
because I just have
You ain't doing born as a sufferer.
decided in my mind that that is not what I'm going to do. Does it take work? Yes, it takes work.
Intentional.
To set those intentions and to
Yep.
follow it. One of the things that I found useful is making a 5-year plan.
Mhm.
A 5-year plan for your
So
life.
I have to
You are a
interject to
government
let you
in waiting
see
all
that
by
that
yourself.
Nigel, that D
All by yourself.
Nigel Williams
Is joining from Kate. Nigel, you know you're not joining us from Kate. Please stop.
It's the same, Nigel. Stop it right now. Stop it right now. Good. Glensis Mingo Byrne and Leslie Charles. Good to see all of you. Michaela Webster. Good to see you guys, and thanks for joining FYI. I think we got some things on the trend.
There is so much happening. So
Lots
much
of things
trending.
happening.
So much trending.
Lots of
And
things
we
happening.
want to bring you some of that.
I think
this
I think
morning.
we're starting from the Ukraine. It's
Yes,
your era,
well-
man. It's your era of expertise.
Well,
I think-
I think we all know what's happening in the Ukraine, in terms of the war that is ongoing. Very, very unfortunate. The cost to human life and to development is really unfortunate. We know so far that there was an attempt at peace talks.
Mhm.
Those have since broken down. And we know as well that heavy sanctions have been imposed, both in terms of economics, in terms of aviation.
correct.
And this is how you know when things get serious. Generally, aviation and air transport is usually the last sector that is touched. So that when you see sanctions being imposed that will affect aviation, you know that, well, we have gotten to a point of no return in terms of how serious the situation has become. And so those sanctions are crippling Russia. The ruble is now valued at US 1 cent.
Yeah.
And
So
I
you're
don't
seeing,
think Russia expected to be to be this long trying to take control of the Ukraine. I think there must have been a
I
miscalculation.
think there has been a miscalculation. I think the spirit of resistance
Yeah,
in the people of
yeah,
the Ukraine,
yeah,
I
yeah,
have never seen
yeah.
anything like it.
Yeah.
It is so
I saw some
interesting.
members of parliament got AK-47s,
Yes,
locked
and
and
they're
loaded.
there and they're
They form on this
defending their.
Ukraine and all of
Yes.
that.
I was
Locked
asked
and
that
loaded.
question yesterday, actually.
Right?
Yes.
I can see you always have
Someone met
AK-47
me in
ready to
Parliament
defend.
yesterday and actually asked
83,000.
me if as a member of Parliament I'm prepared to do something like that. So I had to remind them I'm from the mining town of Bartica and we're prepared for anything.
You're always ready,
Well, there you
ready to go
go.
from 0 to 60.
There you go.
Always ready
In
to go
less
from
than
0 to
60
60.
seconds.
Yeah,
So,
thank you guys.
so the talks have started stalled. They're not
Mhm.
a stalemate, and
Thanks, Dave.
the conflict continues unabated. We are really hopeful for um, a resolution, or at least a
Yeah.
ceasefire, so that the destruction of human lives could be halted. Russia is also a nuclear power, and we are getting reports
Yeah.
out of Europe that the nuclear forces of Russia have been put on high alert. So we are in the midst of all of this, continuing to be prayerful and to be hopeful, and appeal to the better angels of these people. One of the things that disturbed me, though, at a personal level were reports and videos that we saw coming out of the Ukraine where African students were being prevented from getting on a train
Yeah.
to get out
I was hopeful that
of Kiev.
that wasn't true. I was very hopeful.
Well, it unfortunately is
because
true.
it is true because I noted statements condemning coming out from
Mhm.
Africa as well.
Yes.
Statements of condemnation of that action is coming out of Africa as well. So that just that made us know for certain that this is not just propaganda that's coming out, because
It's
the
like we've
response
learned.
is coming from
It's like we've learned nothing,
these
nothing from
countries.
history. You
But
know, like we've learned
yeah,
nothing.
it is
And
so.
my cousin actually, I saw with a
Mm.
post on social media that says even in the midst of all this pain and
Yeah.
suffering, the racists are still out there.
Yeah, you still
You know,
have
loud and
time
proud.
to discriminate,
You know?
and it's really, it took me, it saddened me, because here you are, people are standing in unity with Ukraine, you pray for
Yeah.
Ukraine, etc. But in the midst of that, you are still seeing people discriminating against people because of the color of the skin. It is quite unfortunate, but I'm glad in a sense that it has been brought to the fore, because generally these things tend to get subsumed on the sentiments and anti-war sentiments and so on.
Correct.
I am glad that it came to the fore, and so I think it is important that our leaders take cognizance of it, because what it says is that, all are equal, but some are more equal than
Correct,
others, and
correct.
it really is an unfortunate message. But people say hint beni but my kwashi but take notice. So.
Yep, yep. Which means we got we own problems we dealing with. Let's break it down for y'all. Right? This is not no factor. This is a fact. Trying to show my answer balance all morning. Guys, thanks for joining us. Those of you who are here, we see Marilyn King is here, Samoa Williams, and Michaela Webster, Prophet Siabru. Wow, Siabru Prophet. Prophet Siabru. Good to have every one of you with us. I think we have some other information closer to home in Trinidad. We're picking up some information. We were monitoring the situation with these divers there, and it's unfortunate now that they're telling us that they've recovered the bodies. What we thought would have been, a rescue has now turned to a recovery, and they've recovered the 3 bodies of the divers that were trapped in that pipeline for that fuel company. And my lord.
Yeah, but they're just not divers. These are underwater welders that was going down to actually do some work there. And I noted this morning that the Trinidad government is actually saying that they're going to have an independent investigation done into the matter. But extremely sad that we have to face such tragedy of persons that was basically out there doing their job.
Yeah, and this is the area in Trinidad. I believe it's called the Gulf of Paria.
Yeah,
and of course, you can see the heartbreak. You can see the grief in the family members' faces there, and a very, very sad situation there. And that perhaps is one of the most dangerous professions in the world.
It is. I noted that in the news the other day, somebody was lamenting that Guyana has no underwater divers. But the reality is that this is an area that is highly specialized. You have to be highly trained, because it is fraught with these
Guyana
types of
has
danger.
no underwater.
Yeah, I saw that they have no underwater welders, etc.
I don't
I
think
am
that's
not sure
true.
if it's factual.
That's not factual. I think
But
back in the days, I don't know if currently they're saying that. Well, I don't want to believe that, because
No factor
or,
there.
or maybe maybe people may have left. I mean,
probably
and
because
have
I
gone to
had the
greener
pleasure of
pastures
working with a shipping company at one point in which
that
they
had
had
underground
yeah,
welders. Yeah, it
underwater
sounded
welders,
strange
yeah.
to me as somebody with a maritime background, because I
Yeah.
know that we have had instances of people doing that work. But again, it's a highly specialized, highly
Very.
technical area of expertise. And so our hearts go out to the families. Our thoughts and prayers are with them, and we pray that God will
And we
comfort
want
them.
clarity, and we would love to have more
that
clarity
investigation as to
into
what
the investigation.
happened.
Yeah, because part of the report says that they were sucked. They were sucked into. They were sucked into. They were sucked into this pipeline, a very, very small pipe when you consider 3 bodies fitting in there. But the hope that was they were going to get them out. But again, I say too that we'd love to hear some more. We'd love to see the results of the investigation when the investigation is had. Yeah.
And I'll call and share it at this very moment to encourage persons to share the live stream. And to smash that.
The guys behind the scenes giving us
the cue.
that means share, man. I think you heard that.
Share live.
Share. I mean
Share live.
and then smash the emoji. Smash.
You know, it's so important that we are able to get credible information
Yes.
out, and I think
Yeah.
this is something that we really pride ourselves on.
Yes.
Jarrett in particular fact checks everything.
Her factoids must line up.
I don't want to be quoted,
yes, and
misquoted
so
at any time.
it's very important that you to know that we don't engage in propaganda. This is
Yeah.
where we try to bring information to Guyanese, because we believe that informed citizens make informed decisions, and it can only lead to an informed nation. And so we encourage you to share the live stream, smash the emojis, so that this program, its reach, can be expanded.
You know, and as you talked about bringing information, as you know, we came off of Ukraine, but I saw as we were coming on, what's the billionaire's name? Musk.
Yeah.
Elon Musk said that they have now deployed a
Starlink
satellite to give Wi-Fi coverage to Ukraine. So if the
Yeah.
government tries to, not the government, if Russia, who has been hitting their telecommunications infrastructure,
because in fact their resistance efforts were being curtailed by the fact that their internet infrastructure was being destroyed.
Correct.
And so they
Persons
Elon
don't
Musk
want
sent to
footage coming
Starlink.
out when you have
Yeah.
war. In states of war, persons definitely do not want those messages coming out.
as a matter of fact, your
History will
communication
teach us
ability
that.
is the first thing that is hit.
That is
Yes.
it. Yeah. The whole situation is so unfortunate.
Which underscores what Amanda says, the importance of getting information out.
Yeah.
Credible
Yeah.
information out.
Yeah.
We can underscore that. And you know, we've been hosting these programs, Amanda, and I think over time, people just see them as a given now. They become a staple. We just, you know, we wake up and we know that we're going to have some information out there, whether it's in the morning, the midday, or the night.
Right.
But a lot of people don't understand the real challenges that we have, whether it is financial, the work to be done, curating the information, and the team effort behind the scenes to bring it all together, to just be out here looking as fine as these ladies are looking. It takes a lot of work.
Not to look as fine as we do. That does not take a lot of work. But in terms of bringing the information
My
to
previous
you.
cups like
Ladies, I'm just going to be sipping my tea.
we don't woke up like this. I don't know what Sharon's talking about.
No, but it's so important that people understand that this comes out of a sense of passion, bringing information to people, and again helping them to make informed decisions. And so, what else do we have trending this morning?
Yeah, locally, coming closer to home, we have some additional information. I think we are focusing on this young man last evening who lost his life. I think at what is the area there? This is Agricola. Yeah. And again, you know, coming out of the Mashimani period, we have had so many accidents, and we cannot underscore the need to be cautious as we use the roads, and that's what we've been pounding on these programs. You know, be safe from COVID, but also take precautions on the roadway. This is another pandemic that we have. The amount of lives we're losing on the road, and the first three or so stories locally, it's just about, you know, this road carnage. And so this young man, Mr. Berkeley, is it Lionel Berkeley, died in this accident last evening. We don't have all the details as yet, but we know that he was involved as a motorcyclist in an accident at Agricola.
Well, what the details that are emerging, and when I saw him, I said, this young man looks familiar. Turns out we would have seen him around Parliament because he is the driver of Joseph Hamilton.
Oh, wow.
The Minister of Labour.
Oh, my
And
wow.
so
This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Yes, when I saw him, I was like, but he looks familiar. And then when I did some research, we learned that he was the driver of Minister Hamilton. He had just dropped him off, and he was not on his way home.
Oh, wow.
When he collided, I think, with a pedestrian. The pedestrian is in hospital, and he unfortunately lost his life. And so, you know, this it's a pandemic, as you rightly put it.
It is.
This carnage on our road.
There is rarely a day that we come here and do
Yes.
not have to report on an
Yes.
accident. And we keep
Yes.
cautioning
Yes.
persons, be
Yes.
careful.
Yes, and so we want to keep encouraging you. Use the roads with care. It's important to arrive alive.
Yeah.
Take your time, slow down, and lost a very good friend of ours, Michael Monroe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not a
I
parliamentary staff.
I couldn't another staff of the
Yeah.
parliament. I couldn't wrap my mind around that. I'm still processing that.
But even on the
You
East
know.
Bank, even on the East Bank, Manzo,
Mm,
there were those, what do you call them, overpasses,
yes.
that were put in for persons to walk up and save yourself, having to navigate that dangerous traffic there as it gets on the East Bank. But yet I don't see, too many people want to use that. They think it's a little way off. I don't want to go
But
there.
you see, it goes to a culture that we as Guyanese need to be honest about ourselves. Be honest with ourselves about. Hundreds of millions of dollars were spent to put in overpasses. Use them.
Yeah.
Listen to what's going on. I have a problem, and I keep saying to share that we have a system in place that there are certain things that we should not be divided on. There are certain issues that we should not be able to draw a line down and say this is your view, this is my view. When it comes to safety and security of our people, especially when it comes to the overpass, there should never be an opinion out there that says, oh, it's too long to go up, and oh, it's too high, and oh, it's too this. When it's something put in place for the people, and that is the issue that we have there. There are too many spokespersons out there actually putting negative views out there as to the use of the overpass.
Exactly.
There are too many
You remember
persons
the
doing
statement
that.
by one Edgel that I had to take him to task on, where he said that these things were white elephants and a waste of money. And I said to him, your posture needs to be to encourage Guyanese.
Yes.
We talk about Guyana becoming the Dubai of the Caribbean.
Yes.
We look like we're heading more to be IDOB.
But
Because
that being said, I just want to say that I think even nationally,
Mhm.
as we encourage citizens, we need to have a more proactive role in terms of educating persons on road
Road
usage,
use.
and we're going to be doing some of that. I don't know if they still do road safety
the
in schools,
National Road Safety Council.
but we're going to be doing our bit here, right?
Yep.
Because when you see how people navigate the road, I think in terms of mobility and road usage, the pedestrian comes number one, but we don't see that. Nobody sometimes wants to stop for the pedestrians to pass, to cross the road.
Especially the
You
school
know,
children.
When
My
it's
gosh.
yeah,
raining, you drive and you splash them. It's look. You know how I know that we have the capacity to do better? Because when we go to other countries, we observe their laws to a
yeah,
T. And Sherrod, sometimes we gotta call a spade a spade. Sometimes we as Guyanese, we have to do better in terms of the way we operate in our own country. Walk the extra 2 minutes and use the overpass.
But
correct,
the thing is
correct.
about you say when person go to other countries, like Guyanese live here and they run the red light and they do all sorts of nonsense on the road and they get to the US and they see the amber and they slow down and they
So
stop.
they are
You
the
know
most
why?
law-abiding
Because if they
people.
even attempt to run that red light, a male is coming, photos, license plate from the front, from the back. This is your
Uncle
fine.
Sam,
Who was it you that
This is
said
your
that you
fine.
went to Colombia and
yeah,
not a horn?
yeah. People just wait on the traffic light. They just
It
wait.
is the role of enforcement
Penalty,
director
exactly.
is
There must be
important.
penalties in place.
It's important, particularly when a people fail to be able to self-regulate. You're
Mhm.
gonna have to put stringent measures in place. This lawlessness has to stop. It's just an ethos of lawlessness that we cultivate. The
Mhm.
minibuses do what they want. The taxi drivers, my
Yeah.
God, do what they want.
You
What
call
what does
somebody
the
and you
minibus
get off.
association do?
You know a
I
big one and you get off.
No, and I don't like to call people out like that, but I am curious as to what goes on in those meetings. What is the system that's in place for passengers, commuters to actually go in and say, well, we're lodging a complaint about this particular bus and reckless driving, disrespect the passengers and things like that. And is there a system in place like that? And if there is any system for persons to go and make a complaint and so forth, then what method and what process do they use to actually to punish, for need of a better word, those drivers or those conductors? Because I am yet to hear one instance in which a bus was asked to come off of the road through the minibus
Suspended from the union, what
association.
have you.
Or
Yeah.
it hardly
case in point,
happens.
let me tell you, the University of Guyana, they have a system in place which with the buses that operate there, they have to load in order, they have to take the passenger. They cannot go and having any fluctuation in the bus fare and those things. And if any student finds harassment or needs a complaint, they can go to the UGSS that manages and monitor that system. And there are cases before that buses were suspended and asked not to work the UG route, because
There
we
you
have to
go.
have a system of
Yeah.
accountability. We
You
have to.
have
And it
That's the only
helps.
way.
It helps. But I think the caution this morning again is for us to use the roadways
Just
with care,
exercise caution.
right? And no sooner are we
Too
coming
many
off of
lives.
no
Too
no,
many
no sooner are we
lives.
coming off of this issue with the young man who's lost his life, thoughts and prayers with his family at Agricola. The DPP has recommended charges for the other accident. This is the even more horrific one at the is it the Mahika Bridge?
Yes.
The Mahika Bridge quite recently, where the police vehicle was chasing that car, and you had this as a result of it. The DPP has now advised that the driver of that police vehicle be charged for dangerous driving.
Yeah, it's sad all over. Let us resolve just to be courteous, to be considerate. The three C's. You go to driving school, you learn about the three C's. Just be cautious, be careful, and be considerate of the other road users. And let us do our best to make sure that, everybody gets home to their family and their loved ones at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. And this is what we've been saying. We have been talking about arriving alive.
Mhm.
We've been talking about arriving alive, and it's what is as you say, you take your caution. You're as cautious as you can be on the road, so we arrive alive. Arrive alive, guys. It doesn't take, it shouldn't take much out of us. And
You must never be. My motto is simple. I will never be so late that I must never be so late that I'm actually seeing the need for speeding and misuse of the roadway to get to my destination. At least I don't get there at all.
At all.
Ever.
Yeah.
Slow
So
down.
there's nothing wrong with being late for
Folks,
something.
let me
because,
slow down.
Amanda, there a lot of times parents say, oh, they got to get to work on time. They're late for work and they're speeding and this and that. If you speed and you lose your life, your position at that
Tomorrow.
work will be replaced the next day.
The next day.
Some
The very
passengers,
next day.
some passengers tell the driver, speed up, speed up.
I'm
Late,
not.
speed up.
I'm not one of those.
Speed up.
I am never so late that I want anyone to be speeding on the roadway. If I have to go and issue an apology and offer an apology for my lateness, then so be it.
Yeah.
I think the key is just keeping in mind the 5 C's. When you're driving, when you're using the road, keep in mind at all times.
Yep. So we want to arrive alive, guys.
Yeah.
So slow down, slow down. That being said, when we began our program, we did say that Women's Day. It's March 2nd, March 8th, rather.
8th,
Sorry,
yeah.
March 8th, International Women's Day. I think Jurit is more familiar with the theme than I am. It talks about sustainability and all of that beautiful stuff, and it's within the context of going green and people who've been championing those causes, but women in general. And from now until the 8th, we're going to be talking about a person of interest. It's a new segment in our morning program. It's going to extend beyond the 8th, but now until the 8th, we're talking about a woman we believe who has been exemplary in any particular area, who deserves recognition for the work they have done or doing. And so our person of interest this morning is, we need a drum roll. But you guys are gonna no drum roll in the studio. Our mics are so sensitive. See, we're trying to improve the quality of the broadcast, and the mics we have pick up every little pin drop.
So we hope they picked up the drum roll.
We hope so.
Loud and clear. Guys, our person of interest this morning is Mrs. Sandra Granger. That's our first person we're going to be talking about. Our person of interest, we're going to have one person for sure, and we're going to be talking with other women invariably in the midst of that. This is the Women's Day theme of 2022. The Women's Day, International Women's Day theme is gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. Gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. And Mrs. Sandra Granger is our focus today. And as you guys know, this is I don't know if you say it in this way, but our recent past First Lady. Our recent past First Lady, Mrs. Sandra Granger. And when I think of Mrs. Granger, I think of quiet confidence.
Yes.
Class.
And
right?
Class and
Yes.
dignity.
Quiet confidence, class, soft power.
Yes.
Right? And she has led on a number of initiatives locally. And I think you guys might better articulate it than I can.
Right. So like to start from a personal perspective. There has not been a time that I have interacted with Mrs. Granger that you do not come away knowing something that you didn't know before, and as a woman, feeling empowered and that you can do whatever it is that you want to do. She has always had an encouraging word, and I know that she has also started the Anira Foundation, which is a not for profit, and that deals with empowering vulnerable groups through education. And they do a lot of work with underprivileged youth. I'm aware they're running programs in Sophia dealing with sexual and reproductive health. And so she has put her considerable expertise to work. You know, she worked for a number of years at the CARICOM Secretariat.
Yeah.
And so she is widely experienced in terms of international relations and in terms of those dynamics of CARICOM. She was one of the first persons I heard speak about water security. And that really does indicate the depth of her thinking and the breadth of her thinking. She was one of the first persons that I heard talk about um, us having to focus on water security as a future challenge. And so she's not an ordinary person. You leave enriched, you leave her presence enriched. And so we're quite happy for her to be the first person that we salute
She
here.
has. When I think about Sandra Granger, I would think about my experience with her. I had a privilege of actually being around her and a lot of what she did. But all that she did, she went out there and um, she commanded the room with her presence. But she had such poise and grace, and she came around as a very simple person with such extraordinary character altogether. And I know she received several awards.
Yeah.
I believe if I can pull it up right here, it says that the First Lady of Guyana, Mrs. Sandra Granger, was honored with the conferment of the Center for Economic Leadership and Development Global Female Leadership Impact Award. This is the woman, she has done quite a bit.
What I would add to that, as Rita goes through that, is that my own take on Mrs. Granger is that she did not only command a presence because of who her husband was,
No.
former President, His Excellency David Arthur Granger, but because of who she was as a woman and all she brought to the table. As Amanda said, this is a woman who worked at CARICOM, who dealt with projects concerning this region, who thought about issues and how to alleviate and mitigate them, and was a powerhouse in her own right before she came into the role of First Lady, and carried that with her through several initiatives she embarked on as First Lady. And that is what I remembered her as.
I think the maternal instinct in her is very, very obvious when you meet her. She's a mother, and she mothers even people she may not be very familiar with. And so when you meet her, you get that sense of a warm mother figure. And so she really, I think, embraced her role as the mother of this nation for the period that her husband was president, and she has left an example, I think, of class and of dignity that future and present first ladies they have large shoes to fill in terms of the legacy that she has left for the office of the first lady.
Yeah, and another issue that I think Mrs. Granger led very strongly on, and it was almost like Ronald Reagan standing in the former Soviet Union and saying, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." Is this issue of the dress code?
Yes.
That we try to enforce so rigidly in this climate, that you got to come with a long sleeve, you got to, you want to compose yourself properly anywhere that you're presenting
And
yourself.
She did, but
taking on this whole dress code thing and the ministries and
yes,
how people
you
should
can come with sleeveless and so on. And I think it shows us how pragmatic she was as an individual. That look, this is our climate. We have to dress for our climate.
And our husband was the president.
Yes.
Tear down this dress code.
And so these are the types of initiatives I think that endeared her to the people of Guyana, because like, yes, this is a practical lady. Like, why am I suiting up in the 12 o'clock noon sun
In Guyana.
in Guyana?
In Guyana,
You know,
that's the one.
and so that practical side of her, I think, endeared a lot of people to her. And so, she's a person that I deeply admire, and I'm honored to actually have to sit here
Yeah,
this morning
yeah.
with you
And
guys and
she
discuss.
led by example when it comes to her stance on dress code altogether, because she's often out there
Yeah.
with her arms
Yes, and very fashionable.
extremely professional,
Yeah.
very fashionable. Just
Yeah.
saying that wearing an arm doesn't mean that you're not proper. Basically, look, here I am being as proper can be, and I'm wearing an armless. And she wanted us to move away from more so the Western,
the British, the
the
colonial
colonial
type. Yeah.
dress code, and we have a different climate to them altogether. So how do we adhere to what
And
they
you know
have?
what people miss with that entire thing is that this is about forging a Guyanese identity.
Correct.
This is about forging who we are as Guyanese.
We're yet to get there.
And it takes work, it takes conscious effort. We had this discussion Sunday on a program that I appeared on, the State of the Nation, myself and Vincent Alexander, and we were talking about just how important something as simple as your dress code is in terms of forging your national identity. And so while it may seem to be, why is she concerned about that? It has far reaching psychological implications that we are comfortable dressing for our climate, that we are comfortable in our own appearance, and we are confident in our own appearance. So it goes way beyond what may seem to be a superficial thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
And when you look at Mrs. Granger, you kind of get a glimpse. She was never eclipsed by her husband. And you understand why Mr. Granger was who he was as a person, as an academic, as a thinker. When you heard her, when you listened to her, I remember sometime. I may be off. I hope my history is not that bad, but I think Mr. Granger said that he bounces ideas off of her. She wasn't the final word, definitely, but he bounced ideas off of her, and that to me was tremendously motivating. And when you think of the things this one family have gone through, having the call of the nation on you, the demands of leadership, the burden of leadership, and to have gone through the personal struggles Mr. Granger has gone through in the last few years with his bout of cancer and the treatment and all of that. And to see Mrs. Granger standing beside him in that quiet, strong role, to me was tremendously empowering as a person. And I remember they were doing, I think they were on a campaign, visit some part of the inner recesses of our country. It was K2. And there's an epic photograph of her and him walking hand in hand. They're in the distance.
Yes.
And I'm saying this is what it's about in the midst of all of this.
Precisely. And I think, Sherrod, sometimes and we're learning as emerging public figures, very often people fail to see us as human.
Yes, my gosh.
People fail to see us as
Pressures of public
human.
life.
And one of the things that it was not until cancer ravaged my own mom and eventually took her life that I begun to understand what it was that David Granger was battling, President Granger. We take it for granted, that cancer is something, he's still alive, he managed to get it into remission. But when you understand, just from a human perspective, the way chemotherapy and radiation therapy ravages your body, you can't help but have grace.
Yeah, and he
You
did
can't
that.
help,
Never
can't but have
complained.
grace. Run a campaign.
Run a campaign.
And so-
Run a government. We had a protracted election period. Did all of that and battled cancer.
Yeah, and so I think as people, sometimes we need to extend a little more grace to our leaders.
A little more compassion.
Yeah, compassion and understanding that we're
and the
human beings.
quiet fortitude was Mrs. Granger.
Yep,
all the
always
while.
there, always
All the
there,
while.
supporting, and so we salute you.
Yeah, respect and
Mrs.
manners.
Sandra Granger.
Respect and manners.
And we honor you this first day of March.
Yeah.
And tomorrow we will, speak of other women.
Who will we talk about tomorrow?
You have to tune in to see.
You guys can give some recommendations in the comment section. We'd be happy to have a look at them. Who should we focus on tomorrow for a person of interest? And this is the walk up to International Women's Day 2020, which is the 8th day of March. This very month. We are on the first.
We would love to cover everyone, but we will not be able to.
We won't be able to.
Say, no, guys, don't fault us from not covering someone you think that we should cover. But give your recommendation, give your feedback if there's any particular woman out there.
And as we talk about Mrs. Granger, we've also had we've had good first ladies, really and truly. And they've all had their own causes they were committed to. Right. I think of Vashni Jagdio. She had the Kids First. Yeah, look how easy it is to identify her with Kids First. Incredible work.
Incredible work in terms of
her career. In terms
of medical, in terms of medical outreaches and just a lot of medical intervention. I mean, I know of dozens of kids who benefited from kids. Kids First.
And say what you want of the politics of their husband and all that. We're not going to get into that here. But even Samuel Hines was president, and Mrs. Hines also had her own things that she causes she championed.
Big on the Guyana Relief Council.
Yeah.
She was very, very much at the forefront of helping fire victims reestablish their lives after they would have lost everything in a fire. And so, we recognize it, and there has to be a point, as you have said, where we were able to put aside politics and say, hey, this is a good initiative. This was an excellent initiative, and to offer our moral support.
Yeah, and Aria Ali too is blazing her own trail, involved in a lot of projects. And as we get closer to the Women's Day, we're going to be talking a little bit more about that too. Yep. So that being said, folks, the big issue today are the big projects that we are undertaking as a country and the big risk involved in them. We're 7 days out of Women's Day. So you guys got to stay tuned to know the other folks we're going to be talking about, and make your recommendations too in the comment section. Andrew Cosbert, who you think we should be focusing on? David Watts and all the other folks, Chisung, Henry, and Beatrice Selby.
Yep. You see, Andrew Cosbert is there. I see somebody says Amanda and Joretta should be next.
They're always subject for discussion. Always.
Was it Chisung Henry? And Chanel Ross. Good morning to you guys, and thank you so much for tuning in. And let us know what the weather is like in your neck of the woods. Here we're seeing that it's 26 degrees, partly cloudy. It was raining earlier, but it's, It's going to be
a good day. It's going to be a good day, folks. We're looking down at weather too. But guys, that being said, our big issue today is the big projects we undertake as a nation, and the big risks that come with them, and the big problems that come with them. Big projects, big problem, big risk. That's what we're talking about for our big issue today. And just this morning, we were looking through some of the morning papers, and this one of the issues again that stuck out to us, because here is this battle between Christopher Ram saying that some of the projects that that's been undertaken, for instance, a Milo Fall, he was taking exception to the fact that Winston Brassington, thanks Dave, Winston Brassington was saying that with the Milo Falls project, there are no risks associated with it. And so they're pursuing that. And I think Christopher Ram looked at him the same way Mans is looking at me right now, Dave, and saying to him that, you cannot have an issue of this magnitude, a project of this magnitude, and you have no associated risks to it. The fact that it's a 20-year project, it borders on environment, what do you call it? Climate change and all of those issues. It has to bring to bear on it the flow of the water in that area and all of that. How could you say there are no risks associated with it?
When you have to be worried when you would hear somebody like Winston Brassington, who commands a considerable portfolio in terms of our big projects, make statements like that. It should worry every Guyanese. I mean, I have to process that, because Joretta is the economist here, but I just going off of bare common sense. How can you say that it will have no risk? Every project has a risk. Got risks attached to it.
Every project has a risk. Every project has a cost.
Has a cost.
every
Now
project.
we know that they are already paying through their nose, or the Guyanese people will be paying through our nose for it, because we had the case study of Ethiopia
Mm-hmm.
where they are paying considerably less than we are for a project that is like 2 or 3 times larger than a mile. And so we as Guyanese have to be concerned. And we have to be concerned because, Sherrod, this is something we will be saddling our children with. And
Apparently,
Jordan,
that's not a risk. Apparently, that's not a
no,
cost.
apparently there's no risk or cost. I keep making the point that past conduct is a good indicator of future behavior. And this is a man that said to me that scale don't have to happen.
But I'm happy you said that, because in this report that we're picking up on in this particular issue, here is Christopher Ram saying, and I want to just quote a part of it, that it's not only is it nonsense, but it's also absurd to tell a nation that a renewable energy project will not be any risk, not be of any risk to the country. Again, the report says that this, according to prominent transparency advocate, chartered accountant Christopher Ram, chartered accountant and attorney at law Christopher Ram, and in an exclusive interview that was done. Ram's comments comes on the heels of the announcement made by the Amila Falls Hydro project head, Vincent Brassington, who told the foreign-dominated audience at the recently concluded Energy Conference and Expo that Guyana will not bear any risk, but instead the contracted China First Railway. And Ram went on to say, again, it is not only nonsense, but it's absurd to tell the nation that a renewable energy project will not be of any risk to a country. This is according to, yeah, and those are the comments there.
It,
It's absurd.
of course, it's
It's
absurd.
most ridiculous for anyone to say that risk and cost is something that goes hand in hand when it comes to all of these big projects altogether. And I like to say, I mean, as the economic part of me that always speaks when I speak about the opportunity cost, that something had to be foregone for you to even undertake what you're undertaking. So there's a big opportunity cost there, and every single project that especially big project takes on multiple risks, not just one or two,
So
multiple risk
so
factors.
let us string with this. You have Amila Falls, they're running with. That's the current government. You have also the Wales Gas to Shore project that they're going with, and we know now they've scaled back, or some of the promises they made with the Wales Gas to Shore project will not be happening. They've said they were going to do a fertilizer plant. They were going to do some other stuff with
A
that.
number of value-added
It's
things.
just now the electricity. It's a power plant basically, and people got the concerns with that. And people are talking now about whether it's feasible to run the pipeline or whether it's just feasible to ship the gas to shore. There are those challenges, and then you add to that, you add to that the what's happening at Enmore. And so there are a number of things that are being pursued. I see also there's a video that's circulating that says at the tip of the Demerara in Region 3, they're doing a big project there that has not been announced locally, but clearly
Things
that's
are happening.
circling internationally.
Yeah.
And so the risk involved in all of this.
Well, the truth of when you're dealing with large projects altogether and risk, if we are to be honest about how it should go on any large project of that magnitude, there's actually experts that are hired when you are putting together the whole project that does risk assessment. They are specialized in that department, and their task is to make sure that risk is minimized, because risk is always there. So when he said that, my initial train of thought is that, do they even have persons on board that is evaluating the risk, that is assessing, that is putting things in place to minimize the risk? Because if he's saying that there's no risk, then they would see no need to actually have these experts on board that is going to be dealing with risk.
Right.
Anyone that does any study whatsoever when it comes to managing these projects knows for certain that you must have these specialists on board that is going to evaluate the risk, that is going to put recommendations to minimize the risk, and that is going to be continuously assessing the process, the risk altogether that is facing.
In terms of the monitoring and evaluation.
Exactly.
But Director, I think this should say to the Guyanese people very clearly that this government has no development plan. They're simply coming up with a bunch of projects and hoping that some one of them will be successful. If you look dispassionately at this government's um, success rate in implementing large projects. It's abysmal. But they have managed to convince some segments of the Guyanese population that they alone know how to manage big projects, and that they alone understand development,
Well, it's a
and
first.
that the political opposition does not understand, these big projects and so on and so forth. And so they continue to peddle that propaganda, and Guyanese unfortunately fall for the okie doke. It is clear to me that these people have no plan, but they get away with it because Guyanese do not hold them accountable, because we cannot see past our political prejudices to say, hey, don't waste my money. As a parent, Jaretta, you work hard. When your daughter comes and says to you, Mommy, I need $8,000. You want to know for what? You want it itemized? You want her to understand how it will affect her ability to get an allowance next month? All of those
And
things.
bring the receipt too.
Bring the receipt. When you go to Austin's, bring the book receipt.
Bring the receipt.
It is the same type of attitude that we as Guyanese have to adopt, because it is our money they are spending. And it's me and you, and we sharing tax dollars that I'm going to pay for this.
Yeah. Which
At some
which
point.
But
again,
that is how you do it. I mean, I like the way in which a man breaks it down into women they celebrate the share. We're gonna come back to it. I like the way in which a man broke it down, because as parents that's how we do, and I can tell you that my children know right now that how I do spend it with them is like, you have a list of things that you want, and this is the money that is available to do it. So you need to check off which you are going to do. And the whatever is it that you can't afford to do right now, that is the opportunity cost of doing the one that you are going to do.
Yeah.
And that's how you have to keep going about it. And they have to know, well, what am I risking not doing this? What is the opportunity to doing what I'm doing? If you have to put that mindset in your children. I mean, at the national level, we're talking about something completely different, because we're having a group of persons going out there that is proudly saying that they are utilizing government funds, the people's money, to do projects, and saying, well, there's no risk to that.
There's no risk to
And
that.
there is nothing
No
more
risk to
ridiculous than that.
There is no environmental
when I was
Assessment.
coming there,
impact
there's been an abnormal amount of waivers where environmental impact assessments are concerned, and you just name the project and they've perhaps waived
Yep.
it is the exception for them to
It's a
institute
no-brainer.
the EIA. And then when you go on to projects, for instance, you see us talking now about full coverage insurance. Why is that even a debate that we're having? That should be a no-brainer to have full coverage insurance.
We shouldn't have various
The risk
positions.
with these
I
projects.
have noticed the very careful words of Exxon in
Yes.
this regard. They've chosen their words very carefully. And I still believe that we have to pursue this issue of full coverage insurance, because you talk about insurance to cover all legitimate claims. Then who determines what legitimate claims are? So you're going down a rabbit hole. And as a developmental partner with Guyana, I believe that it is fully within Exxon's power to engage in disclosure and for us to find the best possible solution. Because, like I always maintain, they are an important developmental partner for Guyana, and therefore there has to be a level of comity and respect that is paid to us as Guyanese, and to them as the people who are making the investment in terms of exploiting this resource. So I don't think the issue is closed.
Of course
I don't
not.
think the issue
And
is
let me throw in one more thing before we go. The fact that now, in addition to all of that, this them talk the discussion on full coverage insurance and all of that, the auditing of the 9 billion,
Oh my gosh.
the pre-production costs and all of that. That has been something they don't want to touch at all. So these are the big risks that we take in undertaking projects, whether it's the new Harbor Bridge, it's the Amila Falls project, it's the gas to shore, the waiver of the EIAs, the adequate auditing of the spending, because Guyanese taxpayers got to pay back that $9 billion. And if what amongst legitimate, to use ExxonMobil's word, cost?
who determines
Who determines
who's
that?
the arbiter of legitimacy.
Right. So again, Christopher Ram, and the specific issue of the of the Amila Fall says it's nonsense and absurd to think that you have no risk. We don't want to talk about risk. You only talk about, yes, it's safe and these are the safety process built into it and these are the contingency. But things go awry invariably for whatever reason, human error, what have you. And there could be tremendous, not only risk, but tremendous damage to the environment, damage to human lives, and all of that associated with each and every one of these projects. I mean, just take for instance what transpired in Trinidad, right next door. Simple welding, what should have been a routine exercise went terribly wrong, and we can come aside from the grief and talk about are those workers insured? What their families will be receiving now. Who is responsible to bury them? What are they now? You've lost the breadwinner of the families. Who's going to be providing for those families, their children, and all of that? Why are we just saying, no EIA needed, no brainer, and all of these things?
Look, Sharon and Doretta, this is my abiding concern with us as Guyanese. Irfan Ali speaks about one Guyana. We know that that is a farce. You can only harken back to our exclusion from the national flag raising event. So we can settle that this one Guyana thing is sloganeering. So we understand that they don't mean it. The difficulty that I have, though, is that when you have a government that refuses to acknowledge its shortcomings, when they refuse to acknowledge that we do not have certain capacity, they're taken advantage of by elements that come from far more advanced jurisdictions and that have been here, done that. And so we are vulnerable as Guyanese to being preyed on and being exploited. And it's happening. And it is happening because we are so divided as a nation. And so you have predators who come in and they prey on the fact that they could go to one sector and say, look, we can give you this money and so on and do whatever it is that they want. And they will get through with it because there's a segment of society that will always, irrespective of how wrong they are, cover and shelter that wrongdoing. And Guyanese end up getting robbed and raped in the end. And that is what is happening. We're vulnerable. Our government doesn't know what they're about. But instead of saying, look, man, this thing is so big that we can't manage it, they prefer to fumble it. And they're fumbling it at the expense of the Guyanese and the taxpayer. And I hope we are looking at the people of Ukraine and their courage in defending their nation, in defending their rights, and that we are willing to get up off our laurels and to start to speak up and to speak out, because we will always be left holding the short end of the stick. What those people are showing us is that the maintenance of freedom, you got to work for it. It's not something that happens by you being a Facebook warrior and you sit down behind
active citizenship.
you
Active, very active.
Citizenship is active. And we just came out of February. We just celebrated the Republic. And the whole notion of us becoming a republic was that we would self-determine, cut off from the monarchy, and we would self-determine. Now, some people say, oh, we should go back or we shouldn't do it. That is because they do not want to put in the work that it takes to keep your republic. Let me don't go on because I get very impassioned about this whole thing with us and our posture. So was our own. This is these 83,000 square miles is our own.
Correct.
How everybody coming to dictate what we gotta do here, and we sit down and we take it, and we allow leaders of the ilk that we are seeing now to joke where we are about one Guyana and one this and one that, and do something manifestly contrary. I am still wanting to see the condemnation from the diplomatic community for the exclusion of the opposition from the national flag raising event. That wasn't a PPPC event. It was a national event.
On the lawns of
And
Parliament.
these are the
And
things
it
that
should cut across the political divide.
these are the things that
It
the
should.
Guyanese have to start speaking up about, or the cat can eat with dinner.
Yep. Talking about Cat eating our dinner. Cat is taking our time this morning. But we're so glad that so many of you joined us today. And we ask that you guys share the live stream as per normal. Smash that emoji button. And guys, consider partnering with our program. And we're open too for advertising. Partner with our program, help us to move forward. But it's good to have so many of you here. We see Claire Capel and Kwesi Moffat. Lots of folks still with us.
Yes, and Paula Devonish. We see Holly London and Andrew Cosbert. You know,
I'm having
Andrew is
Sherrick
very
syndrome.
Andrew is very active in the chat every morning, and Pamela Sancharia, and
Yeah.
you know, good morning to you guys, and thank you for joining us.
Lennox, thanks for being
Joshua
here.
Joseph,
Lennox Anderson.
Sandra Brotherson. Sandra says, "Have a blessed day, guys." And
Chanel
same.
Ross here to Twitter.
Well,
Shadet says,
Shadet
says
a
a man needs to be president followed by Sharon.
Respect and manners. I endorse this ad.
Well, those are very interesting sentiments. Maureen Chester Paul, thank you. And Josie Wales is looking at us from Cayenne.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I thought he Texas. Josie Wales. You're going far, boy. Good to have each and every one of you.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Glenford Gordon, good morning to you.
Good to see. Little Pack.
I'm actually on the. I can't
Let's
see the
pray.
monitor this morning.
Little Pack.
Paula says pace and power.
That's right.
That's what we're doing.
Boom, boom. Guys, you know.
I'm coming a little closer.
We open.
What's going on?
We open for advertising.
Vanessa Troy, good morning to you, Vanessa.
Make a picture of you.
Family stuff. I'm trying to see the monitor, but I have to come in a bit closer. Chanel Ross.
Guys, you know. I'm gonna make a picture now.
We're different. Go make a picture. Go make a
picture.
We're different here.
Before I was rudely interrupted. Guys, help us to keep this program going, and our program is going. You know, we've got several platforms you guys can contribute to help us to keep going, to keep bringing the information to you. We're available via Cash App. It's $, in the ring 592. That's our Cash App handle, $, in the ring 592. Available via Zelle and via PayPal. One email address, in the ring 592 at gmail.com. In the ring 592 at gmail.com. We're available via MMG. Believe it or not, that's a local Cash App, the GTT system. 627-6963 is our number there. Available via MoneyGram and via Western Union as well, guys. You need any guidance? The number you want to call. The WhatsApp number is 627-6963. Send us a WhatsApp, and we're going to keep you guys informed how you can partner with us to keep us going. That's our program.
I'm gonna actually be asking. I'm gonna ask Sherry to actually write the script down. So,
Good.
so I can practice.
Boom, guys! Really good to have all of you. Ingrid King, good to see you. And the Brooklyn chapter of the PNCR.
Oh, nice.
Good morning.
Y'all
Good
boy.
morning. We out here.
We out here. We there.
Peggy Russell Elias. Good
Jerry
morning,
Baskin,
Peggy.
Greenwich, and Maureen Chichester Paul. I got the name wrong the other morning.
You got it right this morning.
Yeah. Guys, here's our congrats. Share the live stream and smash. That's what the boys said in the back. Share and smash the emoji.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Have a blessed day and go out there and make it a great day.
Yeah.